In the history of firearms, few weapons have achieved the legendary status of the Colt M1911 pistol. Adopted by the United States military in 1911, it served as America's standard military sidearm for 74 years until officially replaced in 1985, though many units continued using it long after. It fought in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and numerous smaller conflicts. It armed not just American forces, but also countless allied nations, police departments, and civilians. More than a century after its adoption, the M1911 remains in production with millions of examples manufactured by dozens of companies worldwide. It is carried by special operations forces, competitive shooters, and concealed carry permit holders. The M1911 has transcended its military origins to become an American icon, a symbol of stopping power, reliability, and timeless design. The story of the M1911 begins with one man, John Moses Browning, the same firearms genius who designed the M2 machine gun and countless other weapons. By the early 1900s, Browning was already recognized as America's premier firearms designer. He had created the Winchester lever-action rifles, the Colt single-action Army revolver's successor designs, and the first successful automatic shotgun. But his most significant contribution to military firearms was the development of the automatic pistol, a handgun that used the energy from firing to automatically eject the spent cartridge case, chamber a fresh round, and cock itself for the next shot. The immediate impetus for the M1911's development was the U.S. Army's experience in the Philippine-American War from 1899 to 1902. American forces, armed primarily with .38 caliber revolvers, found these weapons inadequate against determined opponents, particularly Moro warriors who would continue attacking even after being hit multiple times with .38 caliber bullets. Reports from the Philippines described horrifying incidents where American soldiers shot attacking warriors multiple times without stopping them, sometimes with fatal results for the soldiers. The Army conducted tests and studies, concluding that a larger, more powerful cartridge was needed. Various calibers were tested, with .45 caliber emerging as the preferred choice. The .45 caliber bullet, being larger and heavier, delivered more energy to the target and had better stopping power than smaller calibers. The Army issued specifications for a new service pistol chambered in .45 caliber, capable of semi-automatic operation and reliable under field conditions. Multiple firearms manufacturers submitted designs for testing. John Browning, working with Colt's patent firearms manufacturing company, submitted a design that would eventually become the M1911. The testing process was rigorous and brutal. Pistols were subjected to 6,000-round endurance tests, accuracy tests, mud tests, rust tests, and various abuse to determine reliability and durability. Browning's design, designated the Colt Model 1905 in its initial form, performed well but required refinements. Browning refined his design based on testing feedback, making improvements to reliability, ergonomics, and safety features. The result was a pistol that was both mechanically sophisticated and remarkably simple in operation. The basic operating principle was short recoil. When the pistol fired, the barrel and slide recoiled together briefly. Then the barrel stopped while the slide continued rearward, extracting the spent cartridge case and cocking the hammer. A recoil spring then drove the slide forward, chambering a fresh round from the magazine and locking the barrel and slide together, ready for the next shot. The final design, officially adopted on March 29, 1911, and designated the M1911, was a masterpiece of functional engineering. It was a single-action pistol, meaning the hammer had to be manually cocked for the first shot, after which the automatic cycling would cock it for subsequent shots. It held 7 rounds in a single-stack magazine, plus 1 in the chamber, for a total capacity of 8 rounds. It was 8.25 inches long, weighed 2.44 pounds loaded, and had a 5-inch barrel. The caliber was .45 ACP, automatic Colt pistol, a cartridge Browning had designed specifically for this weapon. The .45 ACP cartridge was as important to the M1911's success as the pistol itself. The round fired a 230-grain bullet, about 15 grams, at approximately 830 feet per second, delivering substantial energy to the target. The large, heavy, relatively slow bullet created significant wound channels and had excellent stopping power. Unlike smaller, faster bullets that might pass through a target, the 45 ACP delivered its energy into the target, maximizing effect. This stopping power became legendary and remains one of the primary reasons the M1911 retains popularity today. The M1911 safety features were innovative for the time. A grip safety on the backstrap had to be depressed by the shooter's hand to allow the pistol to fire, preventing accidental discharge if dropped. A manual thumb safety on the left side could lock the hammer in the cocked position, preventing firing even if the trigger was pulled. These redundant safety systems made the weapon safe to carry with a round-chambered and the hammer cocked, the condition known as cocked and locked or condition 1 carry. The ergonomics of the M1911 were controversial initially, but ultimately proved excellent. The grip angle, the angle at which the grip meets the frame, was designed to allow natural pointing. When properly held, the M1911 pointed naturally at the target without requiring the shooter to consciously aim. The grip safety ensured a proper firing grip, as the weapon wouldn't fire unless held correctly, and the controls were all positioned for operation by the shooting hand without requiring grip adjustment. These ergonomic features, combined with the grip angle and trigger reach, meant the M1911 fit most shooters' hands well. World War I provided the M1911's first major combat test. American forces entering the war in 1917 were equipped with M1911 pistols, and production ramped up dramatically to meet demand. Colt couldn't produce pistols alone, so Springfield Armory began manufacturing M1911s as well. By the end of World War I, approximately 150,000 M1911 pistols had been produced for World War I alone. Combat experience in World War I validated the design. Soldiers praised the pistol's stopping power and reliability. Stories circulated of M1911 saving soldiers' lives in close-quarters combat, in trench raids, and in desperate defensive fights. The weapon proved reliable in the mud of the Western Front, a harsh environment that disabled many other weapons. Officers, sergeants, and crew-served weapon operators who carried the M1911 as their primary weapon developed confidence in its capabilities. Sergeant Alvin York, who earned the Medal of Honor for his actions in France in October 1918, used an M1911 during his famous engagement where he captured 132 German soldiers almost single-handedly. After his rifle jammed, York drew his M1911 and used it to shoot several German soldiers who charged him with bayonets, demonstrating the pistol's effectiveness in close combat. York later credited the M1911 with saving his life, noting that the German soldiers he shot with the pistol went down and stayed down, unlike his experience with lighter caliber weapons. Between the World Wars, feedback from World War I experience led to minor modifications. The most significant changes came in 1924 with the adoption of the M1911A1 variant. The changes were subtle, but improved the pistol. A shorter trigger, a longer grip safety spur, a contoured mainspring housing, and simplified checkering on the grip panels. These modifications improved ergonomics for shooters with smaller hands and made the pistol slightly more comfortable to shoot. The basic mechanism remained unchanged, testimony to the soundness of Browning's original design. World War II saw the M1911A1 production reach unprecedented levels. The United States needed millions of handguns, and the M1911A1 was the standard. Colt continued production, but the demand was so great that additional manufacturers were contracted. Remington Rand, Ithaca Gun Company, Union Switch and Signal Company, and Singer Sewing Machine Company all produced M1911A1s during the war. By 1945, approximately 1.9 million M1911A1 pistols had been produced for World War II. The M1911A1 served in every theater of World War II, carried by officers, NCOs, vehicle crews, paratroopers, and special operations forces. In the Pacific Theater, where close-quarters jungle fighting was common, the M1911A1's stopping power proved valuable. In Europe, from D-Day through the Battle of the Bulge to the final push into Germany, American forces relied on the M1911A1 as their standard sidearm. Lieutenant Audie Murphy, who carried an M1911A1 throughout his combat service, used it on multiple occasions in close-quarters fighting. His Medal of Honor citation mentions his use of his pistol during the desperate defensive action where he stood on a burning tank destroyer fighting off German infantry. Murphy later wrote that he trusted the .45 completely, noting that when you shot someone with a .45, they went down immediately.
The reliability of the M1911A1 under combat conditions became legendary. Stories circulated of pistols that had been submerged in water, caked with mud, or subjected to other abuse, yet still functioned when needed. The loose tolerances, considered a flaw by target shooters seeking maximum accuracy, proved advantageous in combat, as the weapon continued functioning even when dirty or worn. This reliability built soldiers' confidence in the weapon, crucial for a sidearm that might be the last line of defense. Gunnery Sergeant John Bazelon, a Marine who earned the Medal of Honor at Guadalcanal, carried an M1911A1 throughout the Pacific Campaign. He was known for his proficiency with the pistol, and reportedly used it to kill several Japanese soldiers in close-quarters fighting. Bazelon told fellow Marines that the .45 was the only handgun he trusted in combat, as it would stop an attacker with a single well-placed shot. He was killed on Iwo Jima in 1945, and his M1911A1 was returned to his family as a treasured memento. The Korean War saw continued M1911A1 service, with the pistol proving effective in the close-quarters combat that characterized much of the fighting. In the desperate fighting of the Pusan perimeter, the Chinese intervention, and the battles up and down the peninsula, M1911A1 pistols saved lives and served their carriers well. The extreme cold of Korean winters affected many weapons, but the M1911A1's simple, robust mechanism continued functioning even in sub-zero temperatures. The Vietnam War brought the M1911A1 into a new type of conflict. Counterinsurgency operations, jungle warfare, and the unique challenges of Vietnam tested weapons in new ways. The M1911A1 proved its worth again, serving throughout the war with various units. Special Operations Forces, SEALs, Green Berets, LRRPs, long-range reconnaissance patrols, particularly valued the weapon for its reliability and stopping power. Chief Petty Officer Rudy Bosch, a Vietnam-era SEAL who served multiple tours, carried an M1911A1 and considered it essential equipment. He later stated that in close-quarters combat in the jungle, where engagements might happen at arm's length, the .45 stopping power was unmatched. Bosch noted that many SEALs carried M1911s even when other weapons were available, trusting the old pistol's proven reliability over newer designs. Despite the M1911A1's success, the U.S. military began exploring replacement options in the 1970s. Several factors drove this exploration. The M1911A1 was expensive to manufacture, with its machined steel construction. Its 8-round capacity was lower than double-stack magazine designs offering 15-plus rounds. The single-action operation required more training than double-action pistols, and there was pressure to adopt a NATO standard 9mm pistol for ammunition commonality with allies. After extensive testing and controversy, the U.S. military adopted the Beretta M9 9mm pistol in 1985, officially replacing the M1911A1 after 71 years of service. However, the transition was slow, and many M1911A1 pistols remained in service for years afterward. Some special operations units continued using 1911 pattern pistols, preferring the .45 caliber stopping power over the 9mm higher capacity. The Marine Corps' Marine Expeditionary Units continued carrying 1911s well into the 2000s. The controversy over replacing the M1911A1 has never fully subsided. Many soldiers, particularly those with combat experience, argue that the .45 caliber stopping power was more important than the 9mm higher capacity. Stories circulated of soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan requesting .45 caliber pistols, leading to the adoption of modern 1911 pattern pistols by some units. The debate over stopping power versus capacity continues among firearms enthusiasts and military personnel today. In 2012, the U.S. Marine Corps adopted the Colt M45A1 CISOCOM, Close Quarters Battle Pistol, for Force Reconnaissance and Marine Special Operations Command units. This adoption, 101 years after the original M1911, demonstrated that Browning's design remained viable and valued even in the 21st century. The M45A1 featured modern improvements, accessory rails for lights and lasers, improved sights, enhanced grip texture, but retained the basic M1911 mechanism and 45 ACP chambering. Beyond military service, the M1911 found extensive use with law enforcement. Police departments worldwide adopted M1911 pistols, valuing the stopping power and reliability. The FBI used M1911s for decades. Many police officers carried personally owned M1911s even after their departments adopted other weapons. The pistol's reputation for stopping threats with fewer rounds appealed to law enforcement, where overpenetration and stray rounds posed risks to bystanders. The civilian market for M1911 pistols has been enormous and continues to this day. Competitive shooters prize the pistol for its accuracy and excellent trigger. Concealed carry permit holders appreciate the stopping power and slim profile. The single-stack magazine makes the pistol thinner than double-stack designs. Collectors seek military-issue examples, particularly World War I and World War II pistols with historical provenance. The M1911 has become an American cultural icon, appearing in countless films, television shows, and video games. The competitive shooting world embraced the M1911 enthusiastically. The pistol's accuracy potential, crisp single-action trigger, and .45 caliber chambering made it ideal for various shooting competitions. The M1911 dominates certain competitive divisions, with custom pistols built to exacting specifications costing thousands of dollars. Gunsmiths specializing in M1911 customization have elevated the platform to levels of accuracy and refinement that John Browning could never have imagined. Manufacturing of M1911 pistols has expanded far beyond the original military contractors. Today, dozens of companies produce M1911 pattern pistols, from budget models costing a few $100s to custom pistols costing several $1,000s. Springfield Armory, Kimber, Colt, still in production, Remington, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, and many others manufacture M1911s. The Philippines has several manufacturers producing M1911s. Even countries like Argentina and Norway have produced 1911 variants. The design is so prevalent that M1911 or 1911 has become generic, referring to any pistol following Browning's basic design regardless of manufacturer. The technical aspects of the M1911's longevity are worth examining. The design is inherently accurate. The tilting barrel lockup system provides consistent barrel positioning shot after shot, enhancing accuracy. The single-action trigger can be tuned to very light, crisp pulls, improving shootability. The grip angle and ergonomics work well for most shooters. The 45 ACP cartridge, while generating substantial recoil, is manageable for most adult shooters and provides the stopping power the weapon was designed to deliver. The M1911's reliability stems from several design features. The robust extractor firmly grips cartridge rims, ensuring reliable extraction. The generous ejection port allows spent cases to clear without interference. The feed ramp guides cartridges smoothly into the chamber. The firing pin safety on modern variants prevents firing unless the trigger is fully pulled. These features, combined with loose tolerances that allow function even when dirty, create a weapon that works under adverse conditions.
Maintenance of the M1911 is straightforward. Field stripping requires no tools and can be accomplished in seconds. The number of parts is relatively small, and the design is intuitive enough that even novice users can learn to disassemble, clean, and reassemble the weapon with minimal instruction. Worn parts can be replaced by competent gunsmiths, and aftermarket support is extensive. An M1911 that is properly maintained can last for tens of thousands of rounds, and even worn examples can often be rebuilt to like-new condition. The cultural impact of the M1911 extends well beyond its military and practical applications. The pistol has appeared in countless Hollywood films, often carried by heroes and symbolizing American strength and resolve. John Wayne carried an M1911 in numerous films. The pistol has appeared in video games, cementing its status with younger generations. It has been featured in literature, art, and popular culture as an American icon.
The symbolic value of the M1911 to American veterans is profound. Many veterans carried M1911s during their service, and the weapon holds powerful memories of training, of combat, of comrades lost. Veterans often purchase civilian M1911s after service, seeking to reconnect with that part of their lives. The weight and feel of an M1911 triggers memories for many veterans, both painful and proud. Families treasure M1911s brought back from war by fathers and grandfathers, tangible connections to their ancestors' service. The criticisms of the M1911 are valid, but often overstated by critics. The 8-round capacity is indeed lower than modern double-stack pistols, offering 15-plus rounds. The single-action operation requires the hammer to be cocked, which some consider less safe than double-action designs. The manual safety requires training to operate effectively under stress. The weight, over 2 pounds loaded, is substantial compared to polymer-framed pistols, and the 45 ACP cartridge generates more recoil than 9mm, making the weapon harder for some shooters to control. Defenders of the M1911 counter each criticism. Capacity. One well-placed 45 caliber hit is worth multiple 9mm hits, and tactical reloads address capacity limitations. Operation. Cocked and locked carry is safe with proper training and provides a light, consistent trigger pull for the first and subsequent shots. Safety. The manual safety and grip safety provide redundant protection when properly used. Weight. The weight reduces felt recoil and contributes to accuracy. Recoil. Proper technique makes the recoil manageable, and the stopping power justifies the increased recoil. The debate between M1911 advocates and those favoring more modern designs continues unresolved. Both sides present valid arguments, and personal preference, intended use, and individual physiology all affect which weapon is better for a given user. The fact that this debate continues 113 years after the M1911's adoption speaks to the pistol's enduring relevance. Truly obsolete designs are forgotten, not passionately debated. The M1911's influence on subsequent pistol design has been profound. Many design elements pioneered or popularized by the M1911 became standard. The semi-automatic operation, the tilting barrel lockup system, the grip safety concept, the external hammer design, and the general ergonomics have all been copied or adapted by countless subsequent pistols. Even pistols that look nothing like the M1911 often incorporate design elements descended from Browning's work. Modern variants of the M1911 incorporate contemporary features while retaining the basic design. Accessory rails allow mounting lights and lasers. Improved sights, often with fiber optics or tritium night sights, enhance target acquisition. Enhanced grip textures and front strap checkering improve control. Extended magazine releases and ambidextrous safeties increase usability. Improved metallurgy and manufacturing techniques enhance durability and reduce weight. These modern M1911s represent evolution while respecting the original design's fundamental soundness. The special operations community's continued use of M1911 pattern pistols validates the design's relevance. When elite military units, who have access to any weapon they want and whose lives depend on their equipment, choose M1911s, it speaks volumes about the pistol's capabilities. These units value the stopping power, the accuracy, and the reliability that have characterized the M1911 for a century. Modern M1911s issued to Special Operations Forces incorporate current technology while maintaining the core design that John Browning created. The economics of M1911 production have evolved dramatically. Original military M1911s were expensive to manufacture, requiring skilled machinists and traditional manufacturing methods. Modern CNC machining and investment casting have reduced production costs while maintaining or improving quality. This has democratized M1911 ownership. Pistols that would have cost equivalent to a month's wages in 1911 are now available for less than a week's pay for most American workers. The proliferation of affordable M1911s has expanded the platform's popularity and ensured its continued production. The collector market for M1911 pistols is extensive and sophisticated.
Original Colt-manufactured M1911s from World War I command premium prices, particularly examples with documented military service. World War II M1911A1 pistols from various manufacturers have different values depending on rarity and condition. Pistols with interesting provenance, carried by specific individuals, used in specific battles, or having documented histories can sell for many times the value of equivalent pistols without provenance. This collector interest has created an extensive body of reference materials, forums, and expert knowledge about M1911 variants and history. The customization market for M1911s is enormous. Gunsmiths specialize in M1911 work, offering services ranging from basic trigger jobs to complete custom builds. Custom M1911s can cost $5,000 or more, featuring hand-fitted parts, custom engraving, exotic materials, and tuning that produces match-grade accuracy. This customization culture has elevated the M1911 platform far beyond its military origins, creating pistols of exceptional quality and performance. The training culture surrounding the M1911 emphasizes proficiency and respect for the weapon. Instructors teach proper M1911 operation, safety procedures, and shooting techniques refined over decades of use. The manual safety and cocked and locked carry require specific training, creating a community of M1911 users who take their training seriously. This training culture has contributed to the M1911's reputation as a serious weapon for dedicated shooters. From John Moses Browning's workshop in 1911 to the holsters of modern special operations forces, from the trenches of World War I to the streets of Baghdad, from military armories to competitive shooting ranges to concealed carry holsters, the Colt M1911 has proven itself one of the most successful firearms designs in history. It has served longer than any other U.S. military sidearm. It has saved countless lives. It has won matches, stopped threats, and earned respect from everyone who has used it. The M1911's legacy is measured not in years of service, though 94 years of official U.S. military service is remarkable. It's measured in the lives saved by soldiers, police officers, and citizens who carried it. It's measured in the continued production and popularity more than a century after adoption. It's measured in the devotion of users who trust nothing else. And it's measured in the influence it has had on firearms design, establishing principles that remain relevant today. John Moses Browning died in 1926, just 15 years after his M1911 was adopted. He never saw it serve in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, or the modern era. He never knew it would remain in service past the year 2000. He never could have imagined that his design would still be manufactured and carried 113 years after its adoption. But he created something rare in human endeavor, a tool so fundamentally sound, so well designed for its purpose, that a century of technological advancement hasn't improved it enough to render it obsolete. The Colt M1911 stands as perhaps John Browning's finest achievement, and its continuing service is his enduring legacy.